Sick but spiritual, so here are some little realizations. Basically sums up my experience right now. Now, I have little realizations even when I'm sick, and somehow being sick, I have the flu, kind of alters the way we perceive reality, how we see everything, and it kind of allows us to observe everything from a slightly different psychological point of view because we have this altered state induced by a virus, induced by a disease. If you have some kind of disease, which is unfortunate, I'm sorry, but then your consciousness will be altered a certain way, just like if you have a virus, because you're with a virus, a lot of the time it's dehydration, it's strain on the mind, strain on the brain, overheating of the body and brain, and these can actually induce levels of altered consciousness. But since I'm sick, I didn't really want to produce a video today, but I was like, okay, there are some followers that I have that really enjoy my videos and really want me to produce content. So I was like, okay, I have to be loyal to them at least. And I don't have many, but there are several people that really watch my videos quite often. Everyone that I put out. So here are a few little realizations that I've had, not just while I'm sick, but recently in general. And the first one is the Iliad by Homer. I listened to it quite a bit. I've listened to it probably 7 times all the way through, the Iliad and Odyssey on audiobook. And only in this recent listening, I guess you could say, did I, and I think actually this was in the Odyssey, but it's kind of paired together because both kind of complement each other. But it was the Odyssey part of the audiobook I was listening to, and Odysseus with his crew went to Sumeria, to the land where the sun never rose or set. There was always darkness, and the dead walked. And this little detail might not really mean anything to anybody if you don't understand that the Necronomicon is supposedly to have been knowledge passed down from Sumerian and the Sumerian area, I guess you could say. Now, the Necronomicon by H.P. Lovecraft is claimed by many Mardukites to actually not be the truest version of the Necronomicon. The Necronomicon is more about, I don't know the exact translation of the name. I can say Book of the Dead, but that's not exactly correct. It's more of a book of how to basically worship the elder gods, the gods of order, how to contact them, how to work with them magically, and how to call upon Marduk in certain situations, and basically God is Enki. But God in the sense of the Necronomicon isn't necessarily like one god, but Enki is the god of magicians, and that's very much the point of the Necronomicon. And then the ancient ones are the older gods. They're older than the elder ones, than the elder gods, but they are gods of chaos. They're the ones that existed before there was formed the multiverse, before there was formed to anything, before planets and most certainly civilizations came to be. There was forms of life and consciousness that was kind of just enmeshed in this darkness, and it was just completely chaotic, and that's where the ancient ones come from, and they were before the elder gods in the Necronomicon, as the Necronomicon explains. And there are some similarities to other traditions that I have learned as well, comparing the Necronomicon to other traditions. But what I'm talking about right now is the idea that Odysseus went to Sumeria to basically contact a dead friend. I believe it was a dead friend. It might have been a dead family member. But he went there to contact them because it was a land where there was no sun. It was always darkness, and the dead walked. So this is a very interesting relationship between the Necronomicon, which is sometimes said to be the Book of the Dead, which is very close to being the truth, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. And the Odyssey actually by Homer actually pronouncing that Sumeria was the place where the dead walked. And Necronomicon very much deals with how to make the dead walk again, how to bring them back. So this is a little bit of literature history that connects both something that we all know and love that is ancient, and we know that Homer made or wrote the Iliad and Odyssey, and this is referring to something that most people believe is basically fiction, science fiction, or fantasy, I guess you could say, in the Necronomicon. But that connection really hit home and made me really think about it. But I'll give you another one. Now, recently I've been wondering if the old gods, specifically the gods of my Northern European ancestors, like Odin, Thor, Freyr, Freyja, and Frigg, and to a certain extent Loki. I don't really work with Loki, but there are other gods, of course, of my Northern European ancestors. But many of their worshippers and followers were killed during the Christianization of Europe. And during the Christianization of Europe, people wore Thor's hammers to, many people, not all, well, a minority actually, wore Thor's hammers to say, okay, we follow the old gods, we're rebelling against the Christianization of Europe, we're sticking to the old gods. And most of them were killed or converted. Now, Iceland was the place where paganism lasted the longest, but eventually Iceland basically was self-converted in a way to Christianity. But it makes me wonder, like, in recent decades, there's been a very big connection between people now and the old gods. There's been this constant influx of an understanding of the old gods into the general consciousness, the universal consciousness of humanity in this planet, or on this planet. And I've been wondering, how did the connection between our world in the multiverse, our part of Yggdrasil, stay connected to Asgard? Because Odin and Thor are Asgardians. They're very much in the higher level of Yggdrasil, not the lower, not the mid. And, the Jotun always kind of remain close to us because they're giants, and they are very much connected to not just nature, but some primordial instincts that we always have had. So it makes sense that when the zipper of the 9 worlds comes undone as the cycle is happening, then the Jotun are always the last ones to be shoved out, and then the first ones to come back during the next cycle. But I'm getting off topic. I began to wonder why and how the Asgardians, the Aesir, remained connected to this world. And I started to realize that there is a link in all of us to, not just by bloodline, not just by heritage, but by ideology, by custom, by festivals, by holidays that keep the old gods connected to us in our minds. There are these tiny strings that are never broken. Like, they're so fragile. All of these holidays that we celebrate, all of these simple ideas about Thor's hammer or Odin and his ravens that are just very simple ideas, not even delving into what they, like, the most esoteric nature of these symbols, but these little strings that connect us to higher realms, in this case Asgard and the Aesir. Those are the ones that are often left unseared, unbroken, because they're so small and they're so much a part of every little detail in our lives when it comes to holidays, especially because it's just a custom, that other forces that want to shove the old gods out usually can't get every little string. And then by those little strings, people start to wonder, what is this holiday? Why does Christmas have a Christmas tree? And then we separate it to the Yule festival. Why does the idea of an old man with a beard connected to a traveler? Why is it prevalent in Greek mythology, and why is it prevalent in Norse mythology? Is this an overall archetype of a father figure that is beyond simply a certain culture and more the universal idea of a father guiding us from a higher level, but also walking among us? And in this case, I'm referring to Odin, but there's this universal concept of a fatherly figure that wants to lead us all to as long as possible into safety and into preservation. And then, eventually we will all fall to destruction, especially considering this universe only has a certain amount of, billions of years it can exist before it just all implodes. But gods like Odin, or Odin in Norse mythology, and I work with Odin, so it's an actual god. I really do believe that Odin is actual force, of course, but I'm sure Zeus is too. But Zeus is the same in Greek mythology, as far as the all being kind of the father of all, the god of travelers, the one who leads his realm and kind of organizes the gods. But we see these equivalencies in all cultures. And even when there is an attempt by, let's say, Christianity, Islam, or, well, to a much lesser extent, Judaism, to push out the old gods, we see that in holidays and in customs, and things like Diwali, the Diwali Festival of Lights that I went to in DFW area, months back, and they have it every year. And there's no attempt in Hinduism to convert everyone, because ultimately in Hinduism it's just so open and there's so many, and luckily European Christians weren't able to even really attempt to convert all Hindus, because there's so many, and we are so open to other ideas that we can accept them while not fighting them. So it's really hard to forcibly convert. The British tried to do this, but it didn't work out. But if somebody had basically destroyed Hinduism, for instance, which is impossible, then Diwali, the Festival of Lights, the symbolism is the victory of good over evil, of light over darkness, of ignorance, of truth over ignorance. That would have stuck around even if Hinduism was destroyed. And all of these little festivals, all these little holidays, all these little etymological roots of words, like All-Father or hammer, or even words related to the Elder Futhark alphabet, like Nathias or Issa, or Redo being journey, or raider, raiding in a journeying way. I can talk about etymology all day, and these are just very small details. But anyway, the second point that I was making is that no god can be completely cut off from this realm, and these little strings of cultural connection can never be completely severed. So, I've just shared a few little realizations that I've had, within the past few weeks, and this hasn't been a video based on anything in particular or any one idea. I just wanted to give some little realizations that I've had. I'm pretty sick. I've been trying to speak like a normal person. I hope that it's come off well. My throat hurts. My nose is really clogged up, but I hope this video has been okay. And hey, thank you very much for watching. I've been sick, but I've been trying to give you a little bit of information. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, hit that thumbs up down there. It really helps out the channel. If you want to comment, you want to disagree with me or agree with me, feel free to shoot down in the comment section below, even if you have something to say. And I hope I'll see all of you in the future in the comment section below, and I really hope that I don't remain sick for very long. But the flu, man, it's a killer. So y'all have a great day.